i2u Social Foundation, formerly known as India is Us, extend a very good evening to all present here. We heartily welcome you all to our 7th Foundation Day celebration. Just like we all have our birthdays, the same way i2u Social Foundation celebrates its birthday, that is the day it was founded on the 15th of August. Our founder established India is Us right on the Independence Day of our country, since it is such an auspicious day. We are celebrating it today for the convenience of everyone. Our Foundation Day is like a festival to us, as on this day, a pledge was taken to help NGOs, corporate CSRs, and volunteers to create a better society. Our aim is to contribute towards creating social equity. This is the day an idea was born to handhold all social service stakeholders and to move ahead together. i2u's Foundation Day just became all more exciting. Our efforts have been recognized, appreciated, and awarded on the national level. As a voice for the Ganga Quiz, an initiative by Namami, i2u worked hard to spread awareness and encourage participation in it. We worked in unison with Tree Grace to bring in as many contestants for the quiz we could. The result is i2u Social Foundation got awarded the Best Partner title by Jal Shakti Minister Shri Gajendra Singh Shekhawat. So we would like to congratulate the whole i2u team for the same. Could we just have a round of applause for the i2u Social Foundation for their commendable job that they did? Thank you, everyone. So let's get started with the festivities. One of our amazing partner NGOs, We Are One, has recorded an exceptional dance performance graced by differently abled artists bound to their wheelchairs. We Are One performers are living examples of where there is will, there is a way. Now I may request Akshay to play the video, please.
Sure.
That was a lovely performance. Can we have a huge round of applause for all the performers for giving such an amazing performance? Can we give a virtual clap for them? Special thanks to Hussain for creating this video for us, and we would like to mention the name of the performers too, who have taken time and shot this video for us. The performers were Gulshan, Vijay, Manish, Harpreet, Karuna, Jyoti, and Alka. Now, please allow me to introduce you all to Mr. Pranav Menon. Mr. Pranav is the Advocacy Director for i2u Social Foundation. He has over 10 years of voluntary community service. His marketing background comes out in play when building consensus with the partners and volunteers. He is well known for his outstanding communication skills, be it while engaging with the CEOs of organizations or leading his team. Our advocacy director leads from the front to ensure i2u contribute to its partner NGOs, donors, volunteers, policy influencers, and other stakeholders. I request Mr. Pranav to kindly brief us about the mission, vision, and goals of i2u Social Foundation. Over to you, sir.
Thank you, Ria. First and foremost, a wonderful performance by the team. It was really mesmerizing. It was really touching, and most importantly, I think it shows if there is will, there is way, right? If we really want to do something, we can do it. So one of the main reason and main motive for i2u Social Foundation is something similar. We have a will to do something, and we are working towards do it. Where do we face problems? Where do people face problems in understanding what is the actual requirement in the society? Where do people fail? Or what is it? Who are the genuine people who are doing the genuine work, right? So we have worked with a lot of NGOs, we have worked with a lot of corporates. We have actually come out with a lot of volunteers who helped us to realize what is the actual problem on ground. And I think that is what we are working towards. And with people being here during our foundation day, helping us out, giving us such a wonderful performance, giving us such a good participations, ensuring that they're taking out time just to attend this itself shows how socially responsible each one of us are here. So i2u Social Foundation is actually trying to bridge a gap between the corporates, NGOs, and the volunteers, right? How do we do it? We try to figure out which NGOs are actually working on ground and who are actually genuinely doing what they're actually meant to do. By corporates, we are trying to help corporates by giving them the advice on which NGOs they should approach to, why should they approach, and what is the impact they're creating. Every corporate, be it small or big, they need to understand what change they're making in the society. And that's where we help them out, where we understand the NGO, we understand the requirement, we understand how they work. And bridging that gap itself is a pleasure work what we do. We enjoy doing that. I mean, there are a lot of gaps which comes in, but I think that is what makes our team a wonderful team, because we ensure we feel both sides. We feel the corporate side, we feel the NGO side. So overall, with with the help of the volunteers, this complete ecosystem comes in place. So this is where we actually work towards and ensure whatever we are working towards, we are achieving as we go along. We are aiming to have a pan-India presence where we aim to have 5 NGOs. So we work on 12 causes. So we want 5 NGOs per cause per city. That's what we are aiming to have. And I think we have done a great job on onboarding at least 180 NGOs as on date, and with 6 to 7 corporates who are actually giving us events, their CSR budgets to work on their projects what they're working for. So I think as a team, it is just not i2u Social Foundation. It is everyone who's present here who makes it complete. I mean, we do our bits, but without you people who are present here, who are supporting us, we would be nowhere. I would just like to take a small example on how we have been felicitated, or how we have been encouraged by doing such things. Today, being the foundation day, we were actually felicitated by Minister of Jal Shakti. He felicitated India's i2u Social Foundation as a partner for Ganga Quest 2022. So this Ganga Quest is basically a online quiz program which they run for encouraging today's youth, children, and even adults like us to understand what are the rivers of India doing, what are they actually about. And this is a complete 2 months of quiz which runs around. They do multiple rounds of quizzes, and we help them reach out to people. We help them reach out to our NGO students also, because they were also participating. So it is not just a specific range, right? Everyone who is knowledgeable, who can understand, can actually participate. So we help them out. It gave our NGO a good experience of the outside world. So this is where we also lack, right? NGOs don't get what's happening outside because they're NGO, they keep everyone separate. Now we are helping them to come into this play, understand what's actually happening, and it gives them a different feeling altogether. So it was a very proud moment when we were announced as a partner, and when we realized that we are making a change even by doing a small bits. I mean, it is not something big what we are doing. We're just calling people up and saying there's this quiz, please attend. So all of us, we talk 2 minutes, a minute to everyone, right? If we just give out a word of being socially responsible, that itself makes a huge difference in the community. I mean, that is where we would actually want each one of us to work towards and ensure that we can be responsible ourselves, not be dependent on someone. If we are responsible about with ourselves about how socially responsible we should be, things will automatically fall into place, and it will be a nice place to live around where we can help each other out, be together, laugh together, smile together, share sorrows together. I won't take too much of time. I think I just give a good gist about what we are looking forward. And I'm really, really happy that all of us sitting here together are working towards a goal which is not defined by someone, but defined by our own selves. And I think we're doing a great job by what we are doing. And thank you everyone for joining us today. And let us go forward with the things. Thank you, Ria.
Thank you, Mr. Pranav, for making our stakeholders understand the mission and vision of i2u. Now, let me take this opportunity to introduce you all to the lady behind the best of service that India is Ours has to offer, Mrs. Alicia Vijoy, who is heading India is Ours. Her vast networks and liaisons empower partner organizations to grow further. She is known for fetching seamless solutions for the problems faced by the NGOs. I would now request Mrs. Alicia Vijoy to brief you all about her relations with the NGOs and the passion our team has to work on social causes. Over to you, Mrs. Alicia.
Good evening, everyone. And thank you so much, everyone, for joining us today in this virtual ceremony. And trust me, when we see you all on this platform, we don't feel like we are celebrating it virtually, because we have always received a very good response from all the partner NGOs and the corporates and the volunteers as well. And that is really boosting our morale to do good. So whenever this foundation day comes, I just go to the flashback, how we started the journey, what was the discussion that we were having while, working for India is Ours. So the one thing which we all had, the people behind India is Ours, we all thought of making one thing. It's like, let's make a platform where all those people who want to do good for the society should come and should join hands together, and let's see what best we can do and see the long journey we have traveled so far. We started our journey from 12 NGOs, and today we are having more than 170 NGOs with us. And not only NGOs, we are having corporates, we are having volunteers, and these all are those people who really wanted to give back to the society. And we initiated a campaign that is hashtag One Day for Future. That has motivated all our partners to do good, even the way they were doing. Because initially we found people were very confused, कि एक दिन में क्या कर सकते हैं, मैं अकेला क्या कर सकता हूँ. But when we started this campaign, we started from few people, and today we are having a good chain of change makers. And they all appreciated this drive, and they all realized that लोग तो बहुत कुछ कर रहे थे, शायद मैं नहीं कर रहा था या कर रही थी. And now this is the time when we can act and we can do something good. So from a journey, we started our journey with NGOs. Now we are having corporates also. Now we are having volunteers also. So we are the ecosystem of NGO, corporates and volunteers, everyone with the same thought of doing good to the society. And today, with the help of entire i2u team members and the stakeholders and you all, I think हम थोड़ा तो अच्छा काम कर रहे हैं. That is why we are having lots of people joining us and talking about us. And yes, today our morning started with a very good surprise. We got a award, and you can see a broad smile on our face. So this is how we are growing. And I think we always interact with Pranav and Sudhin Sarachna, and we always interact with NGOs. Today it is time where NGOs get to know more about the corporate world from all the speakers which we are having today. They all will be sharing their insights, and they all will be giving one tip to the NGO. And I think that is the best thing the NGOs can take forward with them after this session. So thank you so much, everyone, for joining us today. And all your smile is really, making a more boost up to take new challenges. And maybe in coming Foundation Day celebration, we'll come up with more to give to our NGOs and all the partners. Thanks, Ria. And yes, you can go ahead with the session. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Mrs. Alicia. And we are really blessed to have you guiding us throughout. I'm sure that you all must be eagerly awaiting for the announcement of awards. We have 6 categories of awards, which are: first, the Biggest Helping Hand Award, which will be given to the NGO with stellar performance during COVID-19. Second, we have the Most Eloquent NGO Award, which will be given to the NGO with the best communication strategy. Then we have the Maverick NGO Award, which will be given to the most innovative NGO. And the fourth one, we have the Tech Savvy NGO Award, which will be given to the NGO making the best use of technology. We then have the People's Choice NGO Award, which will be given to the NGO that has maximum volunteers. And the last but not the least, the i2u Bestie Award, which will be given to the NGO in close coordination with i2u team. We are very happy to share that we have Ms. Stuti Kacker as a keynote speaker for today. Mrs. Stuti Kacker was an IAS officer, 1978 batch, and retired as the chairperson of the National Commission for the Protection of Child Rights. Srimati Kacker has worked extensively in the areas of social justice and empowerment, information and broadcasting, and industrial development, including several years in the MSME sector, both in the state and central government. She is particularly well known for her contribution to the social sectors, including the protection of child rights and empowerment of persons with disabilities. As Secretary to the Government of India, she established the Department of Empowerment of Persons with Disabilities under the Ministry of Social Justice and Empowerment, Government of India. Under her leadership, the department's innovative Nirmaya scheme, that is, the health insurance scheme for persons with autism, cerebral palsy, mental retardation, and multiple disabilities, was awarded the Times of India Social Impact Award in 2009. Drawing on a vast experience of the SME sector, she consistently strived for the economic empowerment of the vulnerable and marginalized section of society. She firmly believes that it is the SME and Khadi sectors which hold the key to elevation of poverty of the country. During her tenure as chairperson, NCPCR, she therefore initiated a collaboration with KVIC to set up a looming and weaving center in Delhi's Children's Home for children in conflict with law for their economic as well as mental wellness. Srimati Kakkar served as Joint Secretary and then Secretary to the Ministry of Information and Broadcasting, along with Director of the Indian Institute of Mass Communication. She was a key driver for the formulation and implementation of several policy measures to strengthen the print media industry and IIMC in particular. She was also Joint Secretary in the MSME Ministry and CDO for both the departments of SI and KVIC. Srimati Kakkar has also worked extensively in Uttar Pradesh as Commissioner of Jhansi, Commissioner and Director of the Industries, District Magistrate of Kajapur.
Yeah, I think that's enough. We are eating into valuable time. Chalo, I would like to start now because this is enough introduction.
Sure, ma'am. So I would request Srimati Stuti Kakkar to address the gathering and also give one tip for all the NGOs present here today.
Chalo, first of all, I have to thank Alicia for inviting me today. And I thought I'll start first by congratulating Sudhin ji for conceptualizing this wonderful idea of setting up this platform to bring NGOs and corporates onto the same, I would say, page, because this was very innovative and very much needed. Otherwise, my experience has been that the corporate sector has no idea about the social sector, and how to go about social development, and NGOs have no idea about the corporate sector. They just feel ki grant mil gayi and that is enough, but that is not enough anymore. So Sudhin ji's experiment of hybridization, when he conceptualized it, I'm sure he never thought how successful he will be. But I think it is his leadership qualities that he has put together a very nice team, which is carrying out this mandate most successfully and most dedicatedly. Now, one thing, when you retire, you kind of get time to read, and otherwise you are doing all kinds of sundry things, running from here to there, and sometimes you feel, what was it all about? That kept us so busy, but as I said, while one is going through a lot of information and a lot of studies and things, it is one thing which people point out, and which is very true, which I also experienced when I was a field officer and working in rural development in my state. Everything had to come from government. My videos used to tell me, block development officers, is that, madam, in the earlier years the people used to participate when it was called the community development program in the development of the village. But after it became rural development program, they stopped doing so because they expect everything to come from government, all monies to come from government. Or agar nali bhi khodni hogi, they will expect that we will get laborers to do it. They will not do anything themselves, even if they are totally waterlogged or if they are drowning. And this is exactly, people just stand back and stare at you. तो एक ऑब्जर्वेशन है जो कहते हैं कि इंडिया के जो सिटीजन्स हैं उनको हम लोग ने कभी इंडिया के डेवलपमेंट एंड ग्रोथ स्टोरी में इन्वॉल्व नहीं किया, एटलीस्ट आई वुड से आफ्टर द 1960s, एंड दैट वाज ऑलमोस्ट सून आफ्टर इंडिपेंडेंस. और इसीलिए प्रोग्रेस ग्रोथ was government driven, and इसीलिए there has been a lot of alienation. There is no love, ownership concept of the people for the things which have been made for them. अगर गांव में एक पुलिया भी बनी है नाले के ऊपर, तो उसको भी they will try and destroy it because there's no ownership. पेड़ लगा है सोशल फॉरेस्ट्री में, तो उसको भी काट पीट के बराबर कर देंगे, क्योंकि again there is no ownership, no love for the asset that has been created. So because they feel कि ये तो सरकार का है, ये मेरा नहीं है, forgetting that हम और सरकार, we are one and the same thing. So in fact, even today I was reading an article in Times of India where I think it is some Times of India ka hotshot journalist that has written that why can't our Independence Day be more people oriented, like July 4th of USA, where the government disappears and the people celebrate. Anyway, a small attempt has been made this year. In fact, it's a major attempt कि हर घर में झंडा, where you actually got the right to fly a झंडा over your house, and it did feel great to have it in your house, and you felt a sense of pride, and again I would say ownership for it. This is my flag, it is in my house, I have to be respectful, I have to keep it properly, and so it is building up that kind of feeling. But there are many public structures that we need to look after. Common resources, like you mentioned, Namami Ganga, there is no reason why Ganga ji should be so polluted. If we would follow the simple principles, I remember I was born in Allahabad, so my mother would never let us, we used to go for our ritual baths to Ganga ji, and my mother would never let us go without taking a bath in the morning. We were not supposed to do anything inappropriate in the river. We were supposed to keep it clean. We were not supposed to throw things into it, excepting that coin and maybe a flower or two and maybe some, milk in it. And otherwise, no washing of clothes and all. So, I mean, but the way we have been treating the river like a drain, I mean, it is so sad. It is a common asset. It is our inheritance. It is something that we should preserve. It is giving life to so many people, it is unimaginable, but since we live very close to the river, we saw it, boys collecting coins from the river, which were thrown there in reverence, or, old women coming out just when you enter a temple, There used to be old widows sitting there giving you water to wash your hands. We don't see them anymore, and they were given some kind of, alms or something for this service that they gave you. They're just, I can't describe to you, how many types of, in how many ways the river has given employment to its people. But chalo kuch nahi, even if we have started in the 75th year of independence, 75 years is not a very long time, because we started with a very negative balance when we got our independence. There was, uh, India had been completely destroyed, and it was had been, everything was, it was ravished in some ways. But we are lucky that we have got out of it. Pakistan has not been able to get out of it. Indonesia is suffering so much, because Indonesia, again, the Dutch, they went there for its nutmegs and things, and it is still having, I would say its poverty is again a lot. And but we have emerged, we have managed to come out of that situation, and we are going ahead as a strong nation. Now, one thing was that we need, as I said, there was a divide between government and the people. So you needed an intermediary, and that intermediary is the civil society, or what you call NGOs. Civil society is the one that bridges the gap, or makes a bridge between the government and the people. And civil society also has undergone a change. Over the years, I've seen it in disability. They talked of the charity mode, disabled logo ko charity kar do, and that is enough. But now they talk of empowerment, they talk of enablement, so that, and you've seen it in this wonderful presentation that we had of the wheelchair dancers. You couldn't have imagined it, say 20, 30 years earlier, but today they are dancing. They are, as they have equal rights. They are aware of their capabilities and capacities, and they're reaching out for the moon. So civil society has undergone a change from charity mode. It has become an enabler, and it is, enabling people to find their feet, to tell them that they are, as much as Pranav mentioned, social responsible for themselves and for their country. Now, one thing is, but to cope with this changing expectation of from the civil society itself needs to empower itself. It also needs to know a lot. It has to build capacity. It has to pick up new skills, because as the role of the civil society changes, the skill sets of the civil society have to change. And this is where Mr. Sudhin's organization is providing the answers, and it is something that he is helping the NGOs develop greater capacities. Today, we are living in a environment which is constantly changing. Every day you pick up something and some new technology is announced. Suddenly something comes about, and then you have to pick up a new skill. It is really, for people of my age, I find it very, I feel कि एक चीज और सीखनी है. Like today only they announced that in T3 you will have to have some kind of a digital walkthrough. I said, भाई क्या problem है, बुड्ढे लोग को क्यों परेशान कर रहे हैं? But the thing is कि NGOs who are working in this area have to pick up this skill, and not only technology is changing, but the financial environment is changing. There are many more things which are, coming into the market, and the whole mindset of people is changing. Rules are changing, and regulations are changing. Regulatory alliances are much more required to be done by NGOs than they were earlier. Earlier you said, "हाँ ठीक है, 10 रुपए मिले, उसका हिसाब दे दिया, and that is enough." But today you must know how to maintain accounts, and this is something which all NGOs need to pick up, because we are living more and more in a regulatory environment, and rightly so, because after all, if it is public has donated funds, then public also has a right to know how its funds were utilized. And hopefully, I mean, you don't want it to be utilized for building somebody's house and jaidad. You want it to be put to good use. So therefore, it is something that NGOs need, their capacity enhancement needs to be done to enable them to cope with the changing environment. Secondly, when I was in this Department of Public Enterprises, we sort of crystallized this idea of corporate social responsibility, and we put it onto the public sector. And we said कि भाई ये तो आपको करना ही mandatory है, आप सरकार की units हैं, and you have to comply with it. That is the first time, even though CSR had been there in the atmosphere, in the environment for a very long time, but that is the first time when we made it compulsory, mandatory. 2% of your profit after tax has to be put for this. The purpose was that the company is using resources which belong to the people, is also using government money, and therefore some of it has to go back to the people, and to build connectivities with the people, to show that, and to build a bond between the company and the people, because we were having also a lot of cases of companies where the local population was so hostile to it. So to build that bridge, this CSR concept was created. Today, NGOs need to know that with government tightening up the FCRA bit, that foreign contribution funding coming into the country, and rightly so. We as a nation, we do not need foreign contribution anymore. We can, if we have disabled people, we have the capacity to look after our own disabled people. If we have poor people, we have made enough progress that we can look after our poor people, old people, you name it, any of those vulnerable groups. And therefore, the NGOs will have to go to, this is my hunch and feeling, I can't say कि पत्थर की लकीर है, to foundations, Indian foundations, and to for CSR funding and local donations. So therefore, they have to understand the corporate mind. Now, what are the guidelines for utilization or getting money from CSR? There's no sense in going to a corporate honcho and say कि सर जी हम ये करना चाहते हैं, क्या करना चाहते हैं वो तो अभी आपको सोच के बताएंगे. You will have to make out a project. You will have to understand that under the CSR guidelines as dictated by Ministry of Corporate Affairs, these are the requirements of a project. There has to be an objective, there has to be a timeline, there has to be a target, you have to know the area, everything has to be there, because the corporate, the board, when it goes to the board, they are responsible to the stakeholders or the shareholders or to the government for the utilization of the funds. I am on a company, and which is a private company, and the company has to give to the board the utilization of the CSR budget, how it has used it, for what purpose, how many people it has benefited, even though it's a private company. There is not a single paisa from the government. I mean, apart from the loan and all that they must have taken, but it is all the shareholders' money. And then they have to go back to the shareholder and say, out of the profit that we made, so much money was put to for social development. So the NGOs have to also know the requirements of the company. Then only they will be able to work together, without any misunderstanding, without any kind of problem कि हम तो गए थे हमें कुछ नहीं मिला जी. But if you go there, you fill the form as it is expected to be filled out, you will have success. And again, this is what Sudhinji is trying to do with through this setup, to give it that spit and polish, to enable it to access funds from CSR for us, and from other organizations. I mean, again, I would like to put in a small word. Even if you were going to a foreign donor, the kind of paperwork required is much more than, I would say, what the Indian companies require. I am on this board for Save the Children, and I often see that the kind of work that they have to put in, the kind of undertakings they have to give in, the kind of sheets of paper that they have to submit for getting one grant through the FCRA route for them or through a foreign entity is amazing. Everybody is becoming more and more and more, I would say, careful about money keeping or money utilization. So this is something, as a piece of advice, I would suggest to all NGOs, please pick up these skills, technology skills, learn how to use, I mean, most of you all would be knowing, how to use IT. Accountancy is something which all of us, all of you must know. No person who is the CEO of an organization or the chairman of an organization can afford today to say कि मुझे नहीं मालूम, ये मेरे financial officer को मालूम होना चाहिए. I, as Secretary to Government of India, I had to pick up all these things. I knew I was getting a budget, where the budget is going to go, how it will be utilized, was all on my shoulders. Even though I have very bad skills as far as figures go, I forget. And I never liked maths, But it was a painful process of picking up this particular skill, because if I knew I wouldn't be a good secretary if I couldn't deliver. And I cannot deliver unless I utilize my funds given to me. The parliament, I was answerable to the parliament, and if there was a shortfall or unutilized budget, I had to answer for it. And if there was some miscalculation or something, again, we were pulled up very badly by the parliamentarians and all. And in parliament, it can really create quite a ruckus. So all of you, I would request all of you, please pick up these skills. Then third thing which you all must know, you should be up on all informations concerning your sector. जिसको कहते हैं ना sectoral information, that you all have to pick up. It is important that you should know everything about your sector. Today we are in the 20th century or 21st century. Don't come up with something which was happening in the 18th century. If you're going to tell me ki is tarah se, even if when you come to wheelchairs and things, any person working in this sector should know that there are wheelchairs and wheelchairs and wheelchairs. Mobility ke liye alag, sports ke liye alag, then कुछ लोहे वाली है, कुछ कार्बन वाली है, कुछ क्या है, then hearing aids का अलग अलग होता है. So you have to be up with information regarding your sector. You should be thorough in it. So I won't take much of your time. I hope that you all found I'm sharing my experience with you. So I hope that you all find it useful. And of course, Sudhinji, earlier also I had requested you, please come out with a rating scheme. It helps people. And whether you do it yourself or whether you get somebody like ICRA or somebody, I believe there are many players now in the market. You can get somebody to do it for you and help the organization. When this ISO thing came, we found it, I was in MSME sector. For me, it was a new thing. I found it a bit of a pain because to get your organizations through for the ISO certification. But the thing is, when the world is going global, we have to adopt the global standards. So it was very useful when you are working in a field. There are NGOs and many NGOs. A person under CSR wants to give funding to an NGO, will definitely pick up that NGO which has a good credit rating to it. So with these words, I again congratulate i2u, and of course, Alicia is always, in touch with me. So I have to appreciate her patience, because recently I've been involved with many other things, personal matters, nothing official. So she has had to contact me several times, and therefore I thank you so much. And thank you for inviting me and giving me this opportunity of talking to all of you. Thank you very much.
Thank
We
you.
are
now you
glad
can
to
take
have you
over.
with us. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, ma'am. It was absolutely a pleasure to listening to you. So, director at i2u Social Foundation, Mrs. Rachna Sudheen, is a dynamic and self-motivated person filled with energy and optimism. Her excellent managerial skills have helped Crystal Use Limited immensely for the last 20 years. Besides working passionately on her projects, Mrs. Rachna Sudheen enjoys devoting time as a yoga wellness instructor. She is an accomplished spirituality healer and motivational speaker who has organized numerous meditation classes for the corporate sector. In her own words, spirituality nurtures your soul, which further contributes towards building a better society, a stronger will in being the change you want to see in the world. Mrs. Sudhi has dedicated her past 2 years towards conducting sessions on mental health and hygiene awareness sessions in more than 70 schools. I would now request Ratna Sudheen to kindly announce the winner of the most eloquent
Thank you, Ria. Thank you so much to give me this privilege to announce the most eloquent. The winner is Sehro India.
Can we give her a applause for Shishya?
And you spotlight Ashish.
Thank you.
Congratulations, Ashish.
Congratulations.
It is our honor to have Tanu K with us today as a special guest. Tanu K is a passionate CSR and HR professional with a wide experience for more than 15 years in pharma and IT industry. She is currently working with Birlasoft. She has also worked as consultants in CSR and HR space in the past. She has a master's in business administration and is an alumni of IIMs and IICA. Her dedication and passion to work for the community is evident in the CSR work she is doing. Her expertise is project planning and implementation along with employee volunteering. The projects she has designed and implemented have won many awards and accolades. She curates the projects based on the needs of the society and works to deliver a sustainable impact on the lives of people. Tanu loves interacting with people and she believes every interaction gives some learning. Her mantra is learn, unlearn, and relearn. In her free time, she loves spending time with family or reading books. Over to you, ma'am. Just a request if you could give a small tip for all our NGOs present here today.
Sure. Thank you so much, Ria. And before starting, I would like to congratulate India is Us and i2u Social Foundation on the 7th Foundation Day. You guys are doing fabulous job and keep rocking, keep it up. I really like the idea of ranking the NGOs based on their work shared by Stuti ma'am. And I must vouch for that, and I must request Alicia if you really can work on that, because that's going to be really helpful for the corporates. I have been asked to talk about the initiatives which I and my organization is working in the space of women empowerment. But before I talk about what we are doing in the space of women empowerment, I would like to touch on gender equality, which is a keystone to modern and a prosperous economy that's provide sustainable, inclusive growth. And education definitely plays a very, very important role in bringing that equality. As we all know that education empowers us, be it any gender, be it man or be it women, and we all have heard of a very common saying: when we educate a man, we educate a man, but when we educate a woman, we educate a generation. So it becomes very important for each one to focus on the education of women. And when we talk about education, it not only talks about what the elementary education or EC. We should also talk about the digital literacy, because digital transformation is what we are going through, and that's the agenda of nation, because that provides the new avenues, and that can really provide the new avenues to the economic empowerment of a women. And that what I strongly feel can contribute to greater gender equality. Now, coming to the projects which we are working on women empowerment, we have two flagship projects. One is Disha, and second is eVidya. And the basic idea of these two projects is to empower and enable women so that they can be self-reliant, they can be empowered, and they should be financially independent. Starting with Disha, the word denotes direction towards the education. In this, under the aegis of Disha, we have two programs. One is scholarship program, and second, we are focusing on the uh, at the early elementary education. In scholarship program, we have around 500 women beneficiaries, in which we are providing scholarship to pursue higher education to the women who have taken the break because of any reason, personal, social, or financial, to pursue their dreams. In this program, along with supporting on the education, we are also imparting them soft skill training so that they should be employment ready once they are done with their courses, once they are done with their graduation. And they can choose the courses as per their own whims and fancies, as per their own likings. Our second program, which is on the development of government schools, in this we are working on the co-scholastic development of the children, infrastructure development, a very basic need which a girl child need, like a potable water, toilet facilities, and etc. So we are working towards that. We are also working on the teachers training, as we feel that that's a very important step for the education and the development of the children. Coming to the second project, eVidya, that is basically which it talks about the digital transformation in learning. In this, we have trained around 2,200 women till now, and in this, starting from the basics of computer to the emerging technologies, we have programmed to cater to all the learning needs of women, because we strongly believe that through this program we are trying to bridge the gender gap which the technology can help, and our effort is to provide those platforms, those relevant support which the best we can do. Because in this the ultimate aim for this program is to provide career development opportunities to all the women from all these spheres. Talking about these two projects, the idea is to educate, motivate, inspire the women so that they should be self-reliant. They should be ready with the required skills, which is actually required to spearhead and fulfill their career journey. This is what we are doing a bit towards the women empowerment and women enablement. And as Ria has requested me to give one tip, I don't have any tip, but I do have one concern which I would leave this platform to think about it. But before that, I really want to appreciate all the NGOs who are doing such a great work. And we have really seen how your working pattern has evolved in these years. And like through you have been doing great work, you have passion, you have dedication, which is quite visible. So on this point, my urge and my request to all the NGOs present over here is that let's have a impact, sustainable impact of our interventions, and let's have the exit strategy of the intervention. We all are doing something. For example, Bellasoft is doing something on education. Some NGOs are doing great work in education, but we all are doing in pockets, right? We need to collaborate. And this is something what we are doing it in pockets, and we have done a very small percentage of the problem because we know the problem is quite big. But when we are going to collaborate, when we are going to sync with each other, be it any sort of organization, be it any sort of any size of organization or NGO, we need to collaborate. Even if that is immaterial if you're doing small, but it has to be 100%. It has to have exit strategy, that how we need to give 100% result, not only for a year the organization is sponsoring, for the future years as well. So that is something my concern, and my request to all the NGOs to please think around it. That's it. Back to you, Ria.
Thank you so much, ma'am. Thank you so much for your valuable points. I think all the NGOs would work upon it, and thank you. So now I would like to request Mr. Pranav Menon to kindly announce the winners of the Biggest Helping Hand Award.
Thank you, Ria, for this pleasure. The Biggest Helping Hand goes by its own name. I request Helping Hand Foundation to come forward. Congratulations. You're living up to your name.
Thank you very much, sir. Thank you very much, sir. Congratulations to i2u for your 7th Foundation Day, sir. I'm very honored to be nominated in this award category for the 2nd time. We have already won it last 8 March. So thank you very much, sir. Thank you very much.
You are living up to your name.
Thank you, sir. Thank you. I'll try to do that in future too. Thank you.
Definitely. Thank you. Back to you, Ria.
Congratulations, Helping Hand Foundation.
Thank you, ma'am.
It's our absolute honor and privilege to have Brigadier Rajeev Williams as our special guest. Brigadier Rajeev Williams sought premature retirement from the Indian Army and joined Jindal Stainless Limited Group as Group Head CSR. During his military career, he served at different war and peacetime locations, having spent nearly 2 decades in Jammu and Kashmir, to include some of the most difficult areas in Dras, Kargil, and Siachen Glacier. At JSL, Brigadier Williams has initiated several projects on education, skill training, disability, health, women empowerment, agriculture, clean drinking water, solar water projects, carbon mitigation strategies, business and human rights, and so on. Brigadier Williams has been a member on boards of many organizations to include the United Nations Global Compact Network, and has been member CSR committees of industry associations and educational institutions. As convener of the UNGC Human Rights Committee, he created the India CEO Forum on Business and Human Rights under the chairmanship of Mr. Narayana Murthy, Chairman Emeritus Infosys. In his military service, Brigadier Rajeev Williams was awarded gallantry awards to include the Youth Seva Medal and mention in dispatches for operations in the Kargil and Siachen sectors. His civil awards include the Singapore-based Asia Pacific Leadership Award, Top 100 Most Impactful Global CSR Leader Award by World CSR Congress, Top 25 CSR Leaders in India, Human Rights and Most Excellent CSR Award, and the Mahatma Awards for CSR. Brigadier Williams is a prolific writer and speaker at various forums and conferences. He has been invited to speak at the offices of the United Nations in New York and Geneva, besides other forums across the world. He has co-authored books on Sichuan Glacier, Indian Military Academy, and on his Jammu and Kashmir Light Infantry Regiment. He has written several papers on varied topics from conflict prevention and security to matters relating to responsible business and corporate citizenship. His recent paper on corporate social responsibility finds a pride of place in the book CSR in India, published by Stringent International and released in Bonn, Germany. I would now request Brigadier Rajeev Williams to address the crowd and even give a small tip for all our NGOs. Over to you, sir.
Thank you, Ria. Thank you very much for this tall introduction that you've given, but kind of you. And thank you, Alicia, for inviting me. It's a joy to really speak to you guys. You know, I mean, there are so many people over here. I can see 53 right now, they went up to 60. It's a large platform. And it's a complete change which has taken place, you know, for the last 2 years, especially during the COVID. And I think corporate social responsibility is evolving over time. I'm glad the Madam Stuti had spoken about various issues. After leaving the army, 15 years, I've been with Jindal Group, and I know how CSR was evolved over time, right from the time when the National Voluntary Guidelines came in, and then, of course, the Companies Act 2013, et cetera, et cetera. But I'm not going to be speaking about all that. What I'm going to be picking out is on your topic. And before I talk about the topic, let me congratulate you on your 7th Founders Day. 7th Founders Day is a great privilege for everybody to be together and to be united. And on this topic that you've come up with is interesting because the topic itself is challenging. The 12 evils of society. 12 evils of society is quite a topic of debate. Because I would think there is no evil, there's an opportunity. And I think the evil, if you say, is one which Pranav mentioned, and I think it's a very important thing, is sharing concern for each other. That's the problem, because caring for one another is something which we've forgotten. If we don't care for each other, then how do we do that piece of corporate social responsibility, that individual social responsibility, which we've forgotten about? If we actually care for one another, then those evils that we're talking about are gone. And I think we need to focus on this aspect and ponder over the last 2 years, for corporates especially. I represent Jindal Stainless Group of companies. That's the third brother in the lineage of OP Jindal Group. Ratan Jindal and Mrs. Deepika Jindal is the chairperson of the JSL Foundation. It's a pleasure to share with you that there are 3 important steps. The first step itself, as I perceive, is stop. Stop, revive, and survive for corporates and for all of us sitting over here. 2 weeks ago, I was in Australia. I was driving down from Alice Springs to Cairns to see the Great Barrier Reef. And everywhere, this huge road sign hit me. Stop, revive, and survive. Because if we were stuck with the pandemic, everything stopped. Corporate social responsibility, the methodology is adopted, the projects that were adopted and that we are running stopped. But we got to think about it to revive ourselves. And the vaccines came in and you know, there was travel again opened up and there was concern. So the projects have to be thought through in details. And for corporates like us, stainless steel, power sector means a lot of pollution, means a lot of extraction of resources, means water, guzzling industries. We've got to think through how we can revive and survive in this competitive world. So having said these three important, I would say, dynamic steps, you as NGOs, we as corporates, there's no difference. It's not the question of being a funded organization. It's a question of an equal responsibility, shoulder to shoulder, sharing the goods and the bads, being partners in crime, being partners of joy, and being partners in sharing and giving. And all these projects, which actually, these verticals which Ria just mentioned, where we are engaged in, from education, skill training, women empowerment community, everybody knows what to do, what not to do. I will focus on just three because of the time shortage also. And one is on sustainable farming. It's got nothing to do with stainless steel. It's got nothing to do with steel sector. That is corporate social responsibility. Get on with the farming community, because this is beside being the mandate of the Prime Minister to increase the farmers' income, doubling the farmers' income. How do you do it? You can't think of just having the produce doubling its capacity. No way. Where you can do is to reduce the input costs, to work on digital platforms, to work on a community that, where your women farmers are being empowered. So it's part of empowerment of women, entrepreneurship, create those opportunities, make sure the logistics are in place. And that is how you reduce the expenditure part, reduce the investors, and that is how you can double the farmers' income. And I can demonstrate to you how, through our partner Gramanati Foundation, a young budding IIT Kharagpur guy, went to McKinsey's, worked in the US, came back, started working with farmers. He's our partner, he's a champion. And I would request you to Google it, Gramanati Foundation. It's a new model. It's a model where we had partnerships started off in Orissa. And today, Niti Aayog has picked up this project of ours and scaling up to the 12 aspirational districts. We started off with Nu in Hisar, in Haryana. That is the only aspirational district. And after that, seeing this model, Niti Aayog has said, 12 districts, let's get started with this model across various geographies. Now, there were 2-3 things here. When somebody talked about digital literacy, the lady before speaking to me. Education, yes. But to work with farmers and making sure that their digitization is appropriate means a lot of commitment. That's where the NGOs have to really work on exclusively. And when demonetization took place, what happened? There was no money available for the farmers to give to the logistics part. There was no money available for the farmers to buy the seeds, and that 20-day period was critical. When the Kharif and the Rabi season had to be really engaged in, how do you get the funds? So our partner, we had worked on this digital platform where there was transfer of money right to the farmers on their bank accounts, and they had exclusive rights to ship all their harvested crop, which was lying because labor had stopped. Labor wasn't available. And how they shipped that because the money was required. So coming to that, I'm saying as far as demonetization time, those who had been around with us for a bit, they had no problem. Second thing was during COVID, the labor had gone. That was a big challenge. How to manage that crop, find markets, find end-to-end solutions. So initially was to build the capacity of the farmers, build the capacity to such an extent by giving them a lot of training through through the government platforms as far as possible, through the OLMs, the Odisha Livelihood Missions, and Haryana Livelihood, UP, Rajasthan, whatever, Uttarakhand. There was a lot of capacity building that was done. Change of mindset of the old into the new, because that's the challenge for a farmer. They're used to a particular system of growing, a particular cropping pattern, a particular, climate resilient technologies have to be imparted to them. That's the high end. It's a difficult task, but we broke that through partners like you. And third is find markets. Find markets, the proper markets. How do we really make sure that if the market is X, then the capacity of the farmers should be to grow X. If they're used to only paddy cultivation, there may be a requirement of giving them some other millet or some other less water utilization cropping systems. So it's made a huge impact. And I think I'll pause here because there's so much to talk about this. That's one of our flagship programs. And I feel very encouraged because, you know, when I speak to you guys and I speak to anybody in any platform, I speak across different geographies and different locations, both India and abroad. And I really feel that there is so much of capacity in us. There's so much of capacity in you. Unplug it. And if you think about the second piece is on waste management. How many of us are doing waste management in the professional way? Now, waste management is something which I feel very excited again to share with another partner, Green Dream Foundation. And they have been doing a lot of things besides, of course, you know, awareness campaigns is one piece, but actually demonstrating even the RWAs of having compost pits on the rooftops. Making sure that you're using the inorganic stuff for some material, something. And today's the paper also reading, Noida authorities coming up with some zoo park with using waste. I mean, there's so much that can be done. And you have to build your capacities. As Madam had said, Stuti, that, you know, peg it, pitch it for funding, you will get it. And the last thing about our program is business and human rights. You know, that's another area which corporates don't talk about. We don't want to speak about human rights violations and things, but there is a fact. The second pillar in John Ruggies' framework of the business and human rights UN principle is respect. First is protect. That's the responsibility of the state. Respect is the responsibility of the corporations. We have to respect each other. We have to respect our communities. We have to make sure that that respect is engineered in such a way that, you know, you get the license to operate. But if you don't get the license to operate, then your plants, which are spewing NOx and SOx and whatever, you know, pollution, will not be able to survive. And I think these three things are important for us as individuals. And the last bit is advice I would give. I mean, what advice can I give you guys? You all know what's required to be done. Don't think that you are there only for the period that you're being funded. Obviously, you can't survive. But make that community sustainable so that when you exit, the project does not exist. And I can demonstrate to you in many ways here also, both in the army, where I served the most difficult areas. We were there for the people. We are holding the borders for what? For the country, for you and me, for the community there. And if you have them with you, then they are the first informers. They're the first people to make sure that you survive. Thank you very much. Thank you very much for inviting me. And it's a joy to share. Over to you, Ria.
Thank you so much, sir. It was a pleasure listening to you. Deepanshu Ganguly has more than 29 years of experience in media, marketing, event management, and social development sector. Deepanshu shares his expertise with us and our partner NGOs in creating social enterprises and leading them to sustainability. In the past, he has worked with several NGOs like Sahasi, Caritas, Reach, Voice, and Don Bosco. He helped them connect with corporates like Jivo, Clothesline, and many others. I would request Mr. Deepanshu Ganguly to kindly announce the winners of the Tech Savvy NGO Award.
Good evening to all of you. I would like to congratulate the Bitsa Alumni Trust for the Technology Savvy Award. Congrats to all of you.
Can we have a virtual clap for them?
Thank you so much.
Good evening, congrats.
Thank you so much for this support, and I'm grateful to Alicia Vijoy and i2u Foundation for selecting us for this honor, and I congratulate the entire team for the 7th Founders Day celebration. It's a great achievement. Keep doing the good work that you all are doing. Thank you so much.
It's our honor to have Mr. Abhishek Sharma as a special guest among us today. Mr. Abhishek Sharma is a strategy and management professional in the impact sector. Corporate social responsibility is his domain of work with rich experience in end-to-end program management and communications. Presently supporting HCL CSR mandate as senior officer, he has worked on several socio-economic development projects in rural hinterlands as well as urban settings across the country. Donning many hats, development practitioner, public speaker, trainer, theater enthusiast, Abhishek is a certified policy analyst and program evaluator by ILR School, Cornell University. Currently, he is based out of Delhi. His academic training lies in development studies and economics. I would request Mr. Abhishek to kindly address the gathering and give a small tip for all the NGOs present here today.
Thank you so much for the warm introduction, Ria. First of all, I would like to congratulate India is Us, Pranav, Alicia, and everyone associated with the team for the 7 wonderful years that the organization has seen. I would also congratulate to all the winners who have been felicitated thus far with awards in various categories. Congratulations, heartiest congratulations. And it's my honor to be here, and it's a pleasure to have been listening to such wonderful speakers, Ms. Kacker, Ms. Tanu, Mr. Williams. I am really privileged to have heard from you your thoughts and how your opinions on the different things that are happening in this sector. So I, coming from the CSR field, I am associated with HCL Foundation. So I would primarily talk about 2 things. One, for the benefit of the House, I would very briefly try to touch upon the different segments that HCL Foundation works in, the kind of work, the breadth and depth that the foundation goes into. And as Alicia and Ria, you had mentioned about the NGOs and a tip that can be given on how the work can be improved together in this sector. So just a little bit about that. So HCL Foundation has been there since 2011. Prior to the CSR law was formed in 13 and implemented in 14. So it has been there since 2011. We work across multiple sectors, which is education, ECCD, DRR, and then we have environment as a vertical. We have skill development and livelihood as a vertical, and across all those things. So we have 5 flagship programs. Now we call these flagship programs because they take care of either specific objective, right? So that is something that they bring onto the table. Now, both the parties should be very confident about what they bring to the table, right? And they should be confident of what they are and what they are bringing. Now, having said that, CSR is a board mandate, right? And some NGOs, a lot of times it might feel that the corporates are being demanding in terms of documentations, in terms of due diligence, both in terms of project, in terms of finance, and multiple different aspects, right? Now, that is something that is a requirement as per the law and as per the compliances and the reportings that need to be done, right? Now, the more we do it, the better we do it. It is important not just for the corporates, but for the NGOs as well, right? And now that is something that should be seen as an area where skills should be enhanced, where capacities, capabilities need to be enhanced so that they can be working well together. And remember that the ultimate objective, these are just processes in between, identifying a particular organization, identifying a partner, working together. The ultimate objective for both the corporates as well as the NGOs remain to bringing development to that last mile where both are intending to work, right? Working with the communities, supporting them, helping them take care of their own lives, right? That should be the ultimate goal. No community should be dependent on anybody, neither the NGO nor the corporate. That should be very clear from the outset, right? So that is something. Now, second, it's a philosophy that we here at HCL believe in, and it is something that should be there in this sector, and that is that every work should be rupee measurable. Right. Now, we all understand that CSR is a mandate. The 2% has to be spent. At the same time, every work should be rupee measurable. Every rupee that is spent should be measurable, right? And now not getting into whether it should be quantitative, whether it should be qualitative, right? But there is no escaping from the fact that it should be measurable, because unless you measure something, you don't know in which direction you're moving, right? And the better you measure something, the better tweaking and unlearning and relearning you would be able to do, and further improve the scale or the depth of the work that you're doing, right? So that is very important, and that is one, if you can call it a tip. I'm not sure if it would categorize into a tip, but this is something that I would suggest that the NGO should be diligent about their system, their accounting system, their management system, and how they are working. If you permit, there would be just one more thing that I would like to talk about, if time permits. Yeah.
Sure.
Go on.
Correct. So the other thing that was, and I think one of the speakers mentioned touched upon this before me as well. So different corporates have their own priority areas, right, that they want to work into. All right. Now, the NGOs can associate with a particular field area or try to associate with the corporate. There are different ways, right? Either the NGOs have a particular project that they want to scale up, or they have a new idea, a new project that they want to initiate, or that they are seeking funds for, or the corporate is running a particular project in which they would want to partner in that particular geography, right? Now, it should be very clear from the outset what is the NGO approaching for, right? It should not be a completely open field, because then it becomes slightly ambiguous as to what are we talking about, right? We should be very clear whether we are seeking fund for a particular project that is existing in a different domain, whether we want to partner with the corporate in the domain that it is working on a particular project, because then the conversation becomes easier. There is a set bench where what we are talking about, right? So a little of research in that direction as to what are the fields that the organization is working in, what are the projects that are happening, and how it can be done. So this is another thing that all of us should, in a sense, try to work upon and try to learn more about what are the things that are happening in the sector and how we can further improve. So largely, these are the things. And I personally feel that it is something that's very important for this sector, partnership, and this is also part of the Sustainable Development Goals, that partnership itself is a very important thing. Partnership for development is an important thing. And everybody, be it an NGO, be it a corporate, be it any civil society organization or even community-based organization, and the groups that I'm sure a lot of us are working with, women self-help groups, farmer producer organizations, dairy collectives, and other such things. So ultimately, all of us need to work together to ensure that individually the kind of work that they're doing can be done at a particular scale, so that larger amount of benefit can reach to the people who are still unserved by certain benefits in that sense. So that is something that I would like to end with. And thank you so much for allowing me this opportunity to be present in the August celebrations of your organizations. And thank you. Thank you.
Thank you so much, sir. Pooja Grover comes with 13 years of experience in CSR domain, working across multiple sectors, including healthcare, child development, education, rural development, environment, transgender rights, and women's rights. She started her career working with the public sector enterprise, and over the course of the last few years have worked with large CSR organizations, private sector, as well as grassroots organizations. At different points of time, she has managed end-to-end project deliveries, scoping, agency selections, fund allocations, monitoring, execution, and reporting. She is passionate about building scalable solutions in the CSR domain, which bring real grassroots impacts. I would now request Ms. Pooja Grover to kindly announce the winners of People's Choice Award.
Thank you so much for the warm introduction, and it's my pleasure to be here with everyone today. We all know the problem of strays in India, and there are like over 5 million stray cattle, 35 million stray dogs, according to the livestock census. Now, there is solution for this problem, like finding homes, sterilizing them, animal shelters, but everything falls short, as we have seen, despite the best efforts of every NGO and every kind-hearted individual working for this cause. In my experience, there's a small story I would like to relate. I had gone to a park with a friend. We both rescue dogs, and there were this bunch of kids playing with some puppies there. They thought these are people who love dogs. Maybe you can settle these dogs with these girls, and they would take care of them. And we could not, obviously, because we have elderly rescue dogs. But there's so much love, and there's so much that people want to do for this cause. And there are limited resources, as we know. This always a challenge to make a difference, but also we feel like a lot of times our hands are tied up because of it. And in this direction, Straw has done a very innovative work of providing the tools of empowerment to children, by initiating them to the cause of animal welfare and giving them the tools to actually do more in this sector. Being a beautiful army of volunteers in this way. And so the People's Choice Award goes to Stray Relief and Animal Welfare India. Congratulations.
Can we have a virtual clap for them, please? Congratulations, Straw India. It's a pleasure to introduce.
Ma'am, I think you were on mute. Could you just unmute?
Yeah, I think you can hear me now.
Yes, it is better.
Yeah, okay. Yeah, I was just saying that thank you so very much, i2u Foundation, for this award, because it's really very, very, it's very encouraging to be receiving an award for a thing like this, because ultimately we find that, there are enough and more foundations for children's empowerment, education, women's empowerment, but there's hardly anything for animals. And when it comes to animal welfare education, it's even lesser. And I'm so happy that Straw India has taken on this responsibility. We do animal welfare education in schools and colleges. So, the idea is to, it has a ripple effect, because the children go and talk to many other people and have more and more people who are becoming kinder to animals, compassionate to animals, to take care of animals themselves. So that over a period of time, our hope is that we don't have shelters, we don't need one, because there are so many people taking care of them, especially children, because children are like, sponge, they're so observant, and they love animals, they're so compassionate to them. It's so easy to convince them about it. So this is where we play this role, and it's very encouraging, India to us Foundation, for giving us this award. And I must congratulate you on this 7th Foundation Day celebrations of yours. Thank you so very much. Yeah.
I would like to invite Ms. Pooja again to let the whole audience know about the YouTube series about Impact Network.
Thank you, Ria. So, on this August occasion of the 7th Foundation Day of i2u, the entire team, through its intense desire to, make a positive change, decided that we must also have a platform where we can shine light on all the stalwarts of change and all the NGOs, individuals, corporates, and everybody involved in making a difference. So we have decided to launch Impact Network, which is essentially a platform to bring together all stakeholders of the social development sector, policymakers, NGOs, experts, social welfare activists, and everybody basically in the sector. And the idea is to build awareness, and through facilitating discussions and sharing of knowledge and key learnings, highlighting issues, because there's just so much going on in this sector, that there's always so much to learn from one another, and when you network and bring your minds, resources, learning together, you really just create a ripple effect and cascade on the growth. So we hope to showcase stories and tales of courage and growth and so much more together with all the partners. And today we are all here on this platform together because we are individuals who believe in contributing to the society through our actions and make a positive impact. So I would actually encourage everybody to come forward and participate in these conversations, share with us your learnings, and try and be a part of this platform. So we're very happy and very excited about Impact Network, and hope we can bring you a valuable platform to share and learn. Thank you.
The whole i2u team is excited, and I hope all the NGOs are also excited for the same. Moving on, it's a pleasure to introduce you to Mr. Jaysingh Morey, Commercial Director, Life Science at Corning Technologies, India Private Limited. A strong believer in diversity, Mr. Morey stresses on bringing different perspectives, fresh ideas, and innovative approaches to meet everyday challenges. From starting his journey at Corning as an account manager, Mr. Morey's hard work and unique vision led him to rise higher up the ladder for the last 12 years. When he is not working, he spends his time bird watching and contributing to sustainability projects like conservation of ecosystems. It is indeed a pleasure to have him with us today. Let's hear him now, and I would even request Mr. Morey to give one tip for all the NGOs here today. Over to you, sir.
Thank you. Thank you. Good evening, everyone. Very thankful to i2u Social Foundation for giving this opportunity to speak. Congratulations on your 7th Foundation Day, and may you have many more, and may we continue to join hands with you. So with that being said, I'm just being cognizant of time over here. See, what I firmly believe is sustainability is no more an initiative which is an obligation. It is a choice that we all need to make in today's world. And that is the only thing that we can have, a little that we can contribute, so that we leave something for, I won't even say the future generation, for our own old age. That, that's the speed of change that we are seeing right now. So with that is a context-setting statement. What I would like to say is, it's important that we simplify everything today. And when we simplify, we make it very simple to be inclusive. Just as an example, we all want to contribute, but we don't know how to contribute and how to make an impact out of this contribution. So if I want to plant a tree, I am worried that I will plant a tree in my garden, but how is it helping? It's horticulture, it is not conservation. How is the tree getting conserved? Where is the tree? If the tree will be beneficial to the society only 20 years down the line. How easy it is for me as a contributor to participate in this kind of an activity. So that's one single message, that we all need to think sustainability every day in our everyday lives. We as corporates also need to think about it continuously. That's a common point I would make for both NGOs, to make it simple as a message for us people who don't understand it, who don't know the science of it, to internalize it. And we as corporates, we will have to do it for our customers. Say, for a very simple program, if I, just extrapolating this tree plantation program. If I am working with scientists who are doing their PhD today and are going to be the scientists of tomorrow for discovering new medicines, I need to go back to them and say that, please work with Corning or work with an organization that gives back. Buy our products and I will plant a tree in your name. I'll give you a Google Map location for it, and I'll assure you that it is in conservation place and all of it. are you with me on it? Yes, he says, yes, I am with you on it because I don't know how to do it. I work with a conservation lab, but I don't have the bandwidth to go and visit the forest and do it. But I will buy your products because you can do it for me. So this is an extrapolation of what an NGO does, how a corporate uses and takes it way forward. It's a simplified message. It's a story that allows secretion of serotonin, dopamine, and epinephrine and all of it. That's these are the three chemicals, or rather, I would say five chemicals, which are binding all of us today on this call. So let's be sensitive to that. Let's simplify the message. Let's be inclusive. As Ms. Kacker also said that it is important to learn technology. Uh, ESG is a new word. It's mandatory for all the corporates. It's you are the teachers. NGOs are going to be the teachers if corporates have to understand ESG, and if it is going to be a mandate, then we as leaders have to think about it every day. Yeah, I have to think about the plastic bottle I carry. How am I reusing it? If I am doing it as an individual, then as a leader working in a corporate, I am able to take the message across to my peers, to my team, and then I can develop my own message that as an organization, I am willing to put up my hand and sign up for something that is more sustainable. And that message becomes powerful when an NGO like you, some of you, comes back to us with a coaching where do this, and this is what the impact is. This is how you will allow your stakeholders to have secretion of epinephrines and endorphins and dopamines in them on everyday basis. I think that's how I would put it. Is the need of simplifying, is the need to be inclusive, and is the need to be making an impact on every day, just a step every day. I think that is what I would like to share with all of you. Thank you.
Thank you so much, sir. Ms. Shatruba Das Gupta is the CEO of Faircase, unlocking potential through holistic development of school students. Ms. Shatruba has over 13 years of experience of working with NGOs to lead large-scale programs in education and learning. She possesses an in-depth understanding of multi-thematic approaches in the education and skill development verticals, including transformative program planning and implementation, operations management, team building, fundraising, and driving stakeholders' consensus. In her career growth trajectory, she has played multiple roles to provide strategic leadership and oversight to program management and implementation of transformative learning projects aimed at bringing about systemic improvements in classroom-based assessments and student learning outcomes for government schools across multiple states in the country. She believes that the route to social justice, equality, and equity has to pass through classrooms. A yoga and nature enthusiast, she remains passionate about bridging equity gaps in education and skill development. Ms. Shatruba won't be able to join us today due to some technical issues. So I would like to request Ms. Bhavna, the editor of Faircase, to kindly announce the winners of Maverick NGO Award.
Thank you so much, Ria, and a very warm good evening to everyone. So firstly, I would like to congratulate India Is Us on their 7th Foundation Day. It's always a pleasure for Faircase to work in association with India Is Us. And without creating much suspense in the category of Maverick, the award goes to Green Yatra. Applauses for their commendable contribution.
Thank you very much. Thank you.
Can we have a virtual clap for them? We are just done with it, but still we'll have one more. Moving on.
See, I'll just brief of some of the work which we did in this last year. We have created one of the largest Miyawaki forest at Navi Mumbai for almost 130,000 in a park. And then another we did in Mumbai region. I must tell that we have planted almost 4 lakh saplings. In Delhi NCR we have done 1 lakh sapling. In Mayur Vihar phase 3 area 3 parks we have developed. Then in Dwarka 1. And in Greater Noida for HCL Foundation, we did for 60,000. Pune, we did almost 50,000 for DCB Bank and other. Then Jabalpur, we have done Aurangabad, Bangalore, Hyderabad. Also, we are doing with the plantation for the Ayodhya Development Board Authority. So we are the only NGO selected for doing the entire plantation in and around the Ayodhya by the government. And we are developing different kind of very rare parks, gardens, then plantation, Vedic culture plantation, then convention, this different kind of Ayurvedic parks, gardens for them, and like Miyawaki, we are also doing with them. So thank you very much for selecting and giving us this opportunity. I'm extremely sorry I joined late because I was held up in the meeting with the MCD director. Sorry.
That was such a commendable job, like planting so many trees and all. Commendable job.
Yes, thank you.
So Mr. Sudhin M, in 1989, he founded Crystal Use Limited in the niche area of multilingual communication localization services, employing technologies, which was later incorporated as a public limited company in 1995. Since then, he has started other verticals for advertising, digital marketing, and IT. His philanthropic activities include developing the NCC training app, which was inaugurated by the Defense Minister, Shri Rajnath Singh. The app is expected to impact over 2 million students across India. Some of his key roles include founding Crystal Use Limited. He led CHL in assisting clients to expand their business to new markets and opportunities. He's also the founder of India is Us, that is i2u Social Foundation, an NGO supporting ecosystem with over 160 NGOs working on 12 social causes. He is the treasurer of the Indian Excellence Forum. He contributes by creating awareness and facilitating psychological interventions on behavior management.
Thank you very much, Ria. I think I'd like to interrupt you, otherwise you'll keep on going. Thank you very much. So I think we are already running over time. So I'll just quickly jump into my short speech, and I hope that I'll keep it short. So first of all, I'll begin with thanking Madam Stuti ji for her kind words and acknowledging the work done by India is Us. And thank you for the wonderful suggestion of ranking based on standards and best practices, which is practiced by the NGO. We will definitely look into it. I also thank Tanu Madam for the compliments, and also thanking her for pointing out very rightly the importance of gender equality and education among the most priority areas. In fact, it is among the top 5 sustainable development goals by the UN. Thank you, Brigadier Williams, for the wonderful work done by, I think you, just wonderful to hear from you, and of course, the GSL. And most importantly, insights you shared based on your experiences. It was wonderful to hear Abhishek Sharma ji talking on requirements and making sure that the CSR efforts are rupee measurable. Wonderful insights on that. Thank you, Jaysingh ji, for the well wishes and your insights on sustainability, especially on the impact that is affected by each contribution. It's very important that, of course, people want to contribute, but how do you ensure sustainability of those contributions is very, very important. Thank you for that insight. India is Us, or i2u Social Foundation, is an NGO support ecosystem that brings together CSR experts, including Pooja ji here, and earlier you heard Ganguly ji also, and then the social entrepreneurs, impact professionals, donors, and volunteers. i2u works with hundreds of NGOs across India, focusing on 12 priority causes, including literacy education, health and nutrition, environmental conservation, women empowerment, poverty alleviation, caring for the elderly, animal welfare, skill development, inclusivity for people with disability, child welfare, WASH, and heritage. So these are the 12 evils that we would like to focus on. We call it priority causes, and Alicia calls it social evils. So the NGOs that we work with are verified by our team for their work, the impact, before we onboard them and we work with them. And believe me, it is not an easy task considering the number of NGOs who are not able to meet our selection criteria and the mammoth number of NGOs who have registered themselves. i2u supports these NGOs by helping them perform better through capacity building, helping them achieve sustainable growth, donor and volunteer mobilization. With the groundswell of support we have received, we have created significant impact across 12 priority causes, across these 12 priority causes. I would like to quickly share my screen, and I promise I'll not bore you. It is just to ensure that I hope you can all see the screen. So I'll just read along and flip through it. The idea here is you should see what we are doing. Some of the impact programs include ration distribution, and this is done by in partnership with Hitachi. Then we did free pad distribution in association with a couple of companies, including Unicharm and Hitachi. We did eye cam and spectacles distribution campaign in association with Shroff Eye Hospital. We did water and sanitation drive with a couple of companies, including Corning Life Sciences, whose speaker we just saw a few minutes back. We did stationery distribution with Hitachi again, and likewise, we did environmental conservation campaigns on that. We did plantation drive, multiple plantation drives across India. Most important is we did student engagement campaigns. And what we strongly believe is whatever sustainable impact we want to create, it is wonderfully done if we can involve students. They are the future citizens, and we really strive hard to engage students with the NGOs, with the campaigns, and that we do in association with Fair Gaze, which is a leading school media. And SDG campaigns that we do with Fair Gaze engages not only students, but it engages the schools, it engages the NGOs. In fact, it's not just one sector, but it becomes a community engagement. With that, I'll stop sharing the screen and I'll come back quickly to what I wanted to say. So as of today, i2u ecosystems work with more than 150 NGOs. I think Ria just mentioned 160 plus. We work with more than 15 CSR professionals, over 20 corporate houses and institutions, supported by hundreds of donors and volunteers across India. And this is what really fuels our inspiration. This is what really motivates us. Because what we feel is that people really want to do good, like my panelists, co-panelists just said in the beginning, that they want to contribute. But what is the impact? What is the sustainability? And more important, what is the transparency? So transparency has been one of the cornerstones for i2u, and we pursue it madly. We pursue transparency in every aspect of our operations, to the extent that we have had to refuse some projects that do not meet our stringent criteria and do not align with our ethos. So it's not that we take on all the projects that come our way. We have challenges there too. But I'm sure with your well-wishes and support, i2u will keep the momentum in making visible, long-lasting social impact. Thank you very much for the opportunity. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. I would now request you to announce the winners for i2u Bestie.
So I think I will give this privilege to Mr. Pranav Menon. Mr. Pranav, I would request you to do this. Thank you very much.
Sure. So this i2u Bestie Award is to an NGO who has actually helped us in big crisis, who has helped us come out of a situation where we were actually tensed for a corporate event also. So this is just not an award. We actually treat you as a bestie. So I request Tapas Foundation to come on board, and congratulations to you.
Can we have a virtual?
Thank you. Thank you so much, Pranav and i2u team. आप लोग को मेरी आवाज आ रही है?
आ रही है
जी जी। सबसे पहले मैं i2u की पूरी टीम को, क्रिस्टल हुस को बधाई और धन्यवाद देना चाहूंगा, और मैं बोलना चाहूंगा कि 7 साल आप लोगों ने जिस तरीके से काम किया है वैसे ही करते रहिए, क्योंकि अब जो हमको सोशल चेंज की काफी ज्यादा जरूरत है, तो मैं चाहूंगा कि ये 7 से 70 में कन्वर्ट हो और हम लोग उस टाइम पे भी काम करते रहें। मैं अपनी टीम को भी, तपस की टीम को भी धन्यवाद देना चाहूंगा कि उन्होंने इस तरीके से काम किया कि हम लोग के कलेक्टिव एफर्ट को बाकी अदर इंस्टीट्यूशंस और ऑर्गेनाइजेशंस ने पहचाना और उससे सम्मानित किया। मैं एक ही चीज जो ध्यान में रख के कहना चाहूंगा कि सबसे जरूरी, हम लोग जो कैंपेन्स करते हैं सोशल इश्यूज पे, उसमें CSR और हम जो कैंपेन्स करते हैं हम कम्युनिटी को इन्वॉल्व करते हैं। तो सबसे ज्यादा जरूरी है मेरे हिसाब से कि अगर हम CSR कर रहे हैं तो हम एम्प्लॉय एंगेजमेंट कैसे कर रहे हैं, और अगर हम कम्युनिटी को इन्वॉल्व कर रहे हैं तो हम उसमें लोकल पीपल को और आसपास के सभी लोगों को कैसे इन्वॉल्व कर रहे हैं, क्योंकि एक ऑर्गेनाइजेशन का या एक NGO का ही ये दायित्व नहीं है कि वो किस तरीके से चेंज लेके आए। उसका सबसे बड़ा दायित्व है कि, और सबसे बड़ा उसका विजन होना चाहिए कि वो लोकल लोगों को जिनकी इच्छा नहीं है उनको कैसे इन्वॉल्व करे अपने काम में। क्योंकि ये जो एक थॉट है, वो हमको थॉट एक इंसान से दूसरे इंसान तक पहुंचाना है कि अगर आप इस दुनिया में आए हैं तो आप सोसाइटी में जरूर कंट्रीब्यूट करिए, वो किसी भी तरीके से करें, वो आप एज अ टीचर करें, वो आप एज अ किसी भी तरीके से एज अ एनवायरमेंटलिस्ट करें, लेकिन हम उस किस तरीके से एनवायरमेंट अपने सोसाइटी में और इस कम्युनिटी में कंट्रीब्यूट कर रहे हैं वो इम्पोर्टेंट है। एंड वन मोर थिंग कि आज के टाइम पे हमको ध्यान देना चाहिए कि हम कॉर्पोरेट्स को किस तरीके से लुभा सकते हैं बहुत नई नई चीजों से, क्योंकि अब वो स्ट्रक्चर आप अगर सडनली देखेंगे CSR करने का, जिस तरीके से पहले ऑर्गेनाइजेशन करती थी, वो अब चेंज हो गया है। अब ये हो गया है कि डिजिटल बहुत कुछ आ गया है। तो जैसे मैं आप लोग को अपना जो हमारा जो ऑर्गेनाइजेशन का तपस फाउंडेशन का है कि वो मैं सारी ऑर्गेनाइजेशन को बताना चाहूंगा कि हम लोग किस तरीके से कैंपेन्स करते हैं और वो क्यों अच्छा लगता है सामने कॉर्पोरेट को या अदर इंस्टीट्यूशन को, क्योंकि हम लोग साथ ही साथ में ग्राउंड वर्क के साथ साथ डिजिटल भी बहुत ज्यादा स्ट्रांग है। तो जब कॉर्पोरेट देखता है कि अरे वाह यार, यहाँ पे मुझे अच्छी फोटोज मिल रही हैं, अच्छा वीडियो मिल रहा है, अच्छे टेस्टिमोनियल मिल रहे हैं, अच्छा ग्राफिक, अच्छा कंटेंट मिल रहा है, तो कहीं ना कहीं शायद पुरानी ऑर्गेनाइजेशन के साथ जिसके साथ मैं काम कर रहा था वो मुझे बहुत कुछ नहीं दे रही है, बट ये लोग तो मुझे दे रहे हैं। तो वो देखते हैं कि यार यहाँ पे हमको काफी कुछ मिल रहा है और बजट भी वही है। तो आप अगर अपने आप को डिजिटली भी स्ट्रांग रहें, क्योंकि कोई भी कॉर्पोरेट हो उसको जरूर अच्छा लगता है कि मेरा बोलते हुए वीडियो आए या मेरा पेड़ लगाते हुए फोटो आए या मेरा कुछ भी करते हुए हमारे कॉर्पोरेट के बारे में लिंक्डइन पे, सोशल मीडिया पे, हर जगह पे हमारे कॉर्पोरेट का मेंशन हो कि हमने ये किया। वो पहले नहीं होता था, और अब सडनली जैसी ऑर्गेनाइजेशंस आ गई हैं जो यूथ लेड ऑर्गेनाइजेशंस हैं, यूथ मतलब कॉलेज नहीं, यूथ मतलब 25 to 50, क्योंकि पहले अगर आप लोग याद करेंगे तो पहले ऐसा होता था कि अगर हम बोलते थे कि इनका एनजीओ, तो लोग सोचते थे ये झोला टांग के घूमता है, पर अब वो सडनली चेंज हो गया है। अब ये हो गया है कि अब उस एनजीओ को एक नाम दे दिया गया है डेवलपमेंट सेक्टर, और अगर वो डेवलपमेंट सेक्टर में आप डुबकी लगाएंगे तो आप देखेंगे कि वहां पे बहुत सारे लोग हैं जिनसे आप काम करके काफी अच्छे लेवल पे चेंज ला सकते हैं, ग्राउंड लेवल पे। तो आपको यही ध्यान देना चाहिए कि हम कॉर्पोरेट को ज्यादा से ज्यादा चीजें दें जो उनको देख के लगे कि मेरे को पहले वाला एनजीओ बेवकूफ बना रहा था, ये बहुत कुछ कर रहा है मेरे लिए। आप उनको ग्राउंड वर्क दें, और सबसे जरूरी है कि आप एम्प्लॉय एंगेजमेंट दें, क्योंकि एम्प्लॉय उनका जब मंडे से सैटरडे तक काम कर रहा है तो हम चाहते हैं कि वो संडे को 1 घंटे निकाल के कम से कम सोसाइटी में कंट्रीब्यूट करे। तो ये चीजें हैं जिसको अगर हम ध्यान देंगे तो डेफिनेटली हमको बहुत फायदा होगा। मैं थैंक यू बोलना चाहूंगा कि उन्होंने मुझे इतने साल से कांटेक्ट में रही और फिर उन्होंने मुझे i2u से जोड़ा। मैं प्रणव को, सुधीन जी को और पूरी टीम को थैंक यू बोलना चाहूंगा कि मैं आप लोग के साथ अभी 4 से 5 अलग अलग कैंपेन्स कर चुका हूँ और मैं उम्मीद करूंगा कि आप लोग के साथ मैं ऐसे ही जुड़े रहूं और आगे भी करते रहूं, ताकि हमको भी और आपको भी और हम एज अ सोसाइटी, एज अ कम्युनिटी, हम सबको डेवलप करने का मौका मिले और हम सभी लोग ग्रो कर पाए साथ में मिलके। क्योंकि एक उंगली कुछ नहीं कर सकती, 5 उंगलियां मिलके हाथ बनती हैं और वो हाथ काफी अच्छा होता है कोई भी काम करने के लिए। थैंक यू सो मच।
थैंक यू विपुल जी, इसीलिए हम आपको बेस्ट फ्रेंड बना रहे हैं। Over to you, Riya.
Thank you, sir. So I would request all the winners to switch on your videos. We would have a group selfie and we'll put you on spotlight. So just a humble request. All the winners. Thank you. Mr. Akshay, can we have a screenshot of all the winners all together with their camera switched on?
I think rest of them have left. I cannot find them.
Okay, so with this, we come to an end today's celebration. From the team of i2u, I would like to extend my heartfelt thanks to all the speakers for coming here and gracing this occasion. I would also like to thank each participant NGO for being such a good sport and making this event a successful one. And special congratulations to all the winners. And I'm super sure that together we are going to make a great difference in the world to make it a better place to live for everyone. Once again, thank you everyone for being here.